what stood out to me in that is that, you know, Jesus has told us that he's experienced anything and everything that we would ever experience. And I would say that, you know, the crucible or going through the fire is exactly what he was going through at that moment, being pressed, praying to the point of drops of blood coming out of him, praying. And some of the commentary I read was he knew what his task was. He knew his role. He knew that he had to die. And yet, as you said earlier, Jason, he was pleading with God if there was a different way for him to be able to let that cup pass from him. And we do the same thing. We go through the same experiences. And I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier about the prosperity gospel, Jim. If people don't understand that there is a process, I mean, I call it the fire. That's what it feels like to me. But if you don't understand that you're going to go through that, then you're always looking for the good things. And then you look at God when the good things don't come and you think that he's doing something to you to keep you from having the good things. Yeah. And it's not, that's not the truth. So yes, I think that, you know, his disciples are like us. How many times have you laid down at night to pray and you fall asleep? And, you know, that really stood out to me about how human they were, but yet it also stood out to me in that they were building their relationship with him. They didn't have a relationship with the Spirit yet. And it was the Spirit that would be able to empower them to stay awake. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we can look at that as an example of how we're so much like the disciples, but yet after receiving.
Yeah, and they, you know, and to some degree, there's a practicality to God, to Christ, Jesus telling them to pray so that they don't fall into temptation, which, you know, they all abandoned him, and Peter denied him. I mean, the key was he was helping them to prepare for what was about to unfold in front of them. And so, and then Peter, I guess also, you know, sliced the ear off. So he was going at it, but there's it for their own benefit, you know, even not just for what was happening at a larger level. And yet it was not enough. But I imagine being in their shoes, sort of this expectation of, you know, him as the Messiah and this king, this conqueror, and they see him in the garden, like prostrate on the ground, terrified and lamenting a God. I mean, I can't imagine that's a big confidence booster for a disciple. And I don't know, I'd be terrified if he was terrified.